Good afternoon, my name is Braydon Randt from Second Life, and today we'll be looking at the cloth simulation in Blender. In order to do this, we need to set up both the mesh that will simulate the cloth and the collision mesh. It's important that the cloth and the collision on the same layer, or else the cloth will fail to collide, giving a less than realistic effect. Right, so what I've done is I've created a plane. As you can see, I've modelled it roughly as I would want a cape to be on this particular model. If I go into edit mode, you can see I've assigned it quite a lot of vertices. In real terms, there's only 750 on there, but we will be solidifying it afterwards to give it some thickness. And it's better just to work with a plane for the cloth simulator. So I've sized it accordingly and modelled it roughly where I want. But as I say, in order to get a smooth result, you need to really increase the amount of vertices. You can model it roughly, and then if you press W and subdivide, it will allow you to subdivide up to 10 subdivisions. That may not be enough. What I did is I subdivided it 5 times and then did an additional 3 over there. So rather than 10 times, it's 5 times 3, so it'll be 15 times. So we've done the subdivision. So now we've done that, what we now have the suitable amount of vertices to get a smoother cloth simulation. And there's no hard and fast rule as to what's the best amount to use, but the more that you do use, the more fluid the final effect will be. Right, so in order for the cloth to drape in a particular way, we have to pin certain vertices to a vertex group. In order to do that, what we do is we need to select the vertices that we want to pin. Now I've already done some pinning, so what we need to do is go to Object Data. And once we're in Object Data, you'll get the vertex groups and you'll select the vertex groups. Now, as you can see, I've already got them. So what I'm going to do is I'll remove the ones that I've got and I'll say to select some more. And I'll change that title for this just to pinning. You can call it what you like. I call it pinning just so I know what it is. And then what I'm going to do is I will select the vertices that I want to pin in place. Right. So I've selected those ones. I'm going to select the ones at the front as well, only because I don't want those to move at all. Okay, so I've got those, and what I can do then is I can assign, and those vertices are now assigned to that vertex group. As you can see, if we select, they're now pinned in place. What we need then to do is we can select the mesh that we've made, and we can scroll along and go to our physics tab. So we click the physics tab, and what we would like this to be is a cloth simulation. So we'll then click on the cloth like so, and this will give us the options for the cloth. And then what we wanted to do is, as you can see here under the cloth tab, we can select pinning, and we can choose what we wish to pin it to. So as you can see, it's now pinned and it's got to those vertex groups, so that's okay. Right. Excuse me. Right. Now what we need to do is once we've clicked on the vertex groups and we've selected that we want it to be a cloth simulation, you can change such things as the amount of damping, how much distance we want. At the moment, I've got a 0.15 distance from the thing that it collides with. But we actually need to give it something to collide against. Excuse me. So if I select, for instance, in this model, I'm going to select the tunic, and then I'll say for that, still in the physics tab, we want it to be a collision object. So now this cloth will collide against this tunic. Because the cape in this model is quite long, I'm actually going to grab the person's legs, the model's legs rather, and also add that as a collision object. That way, when it hits below the skirt, it won't flick under. So I'm going to start this animation, and how you do that is down in your animating window, down below, you'll see a start, rewind, etc. So I'm going to make sure that's set at 0, and then I'm going to start the animation. Now, make sure it's obviously highlighted. There we go. Right, now, the problems we have with doing cloth things is it's quite intensive on your computing power, and it only does it once. So once you've done it, it's how you want it. We'll approach that next. But I'm going to let this run, and I'll pause the video while we let that run. Okay, now, so welcome back. As you can see, we've got the cloth simulation now gone through its baking process of creating a simulation. As you can see at this stage now, what it will do is it'll continue to run through what it's done. You can start and stop your animation by either the pause button or, well, pretty much the pause button really. You can also press, I think it's, yeah, you can just press the pause button for now. Right, and you can stop it at any point, like so. And then you can also go through and back the stages of the animation and get it to a point where you're actually happy with how it's ended up. As you can see there, it's all colliding with the collision mesh. So I'm just going to go through and find a stage where I'm actually happy with its resting position. As it's a cape, I don't want it to be too far away from the body. I think that's actually a reasonable state for me. Now, whatever you do, do not go back into edit mode. If you go back into edit mode on this cape, it will throw it back up into its starting position, and then you have to start the process all over again. So once it's set and you're happy with its position, you can go to your modifiers tab. There we go. Go to the modifiers tab, and you can apply the modifier for the cloth simulation, and then you can go to edit mode. And as you can see, it's quite happy where it is. We've got it roughly as we want it. You can then go in and do any tidying up of the of any of the vertices, because once it's changed and once it's set, you can then go and modify as though it's just a normal mesh, because obviously now it's been set as a proper mesh object and no longer doing this simulation. If you do decide that this isn't really good enough for you, then what you can do is I will go back, as you can see, I'm in edit mode, and our modifier no longer applies. I think we can still probably run the simulation. I'll just try and see whether that's the case. No, we've no longer got the simulation there. It's actually stopped. So what we'll have to do then is go in and apply the cloth simulation once more, and again we can run the simulation. I'll just rewind it from the beginning, and we start the process all over again. So it is quite a lengthy thing to do, but you can get really good results. You can do it on things like skirts, tops, curtains, anything that has a fluid cloth mesh. You really can get away with letting it do it by itself without having to do masses and masses of modelling. So this was a very quick tutorial. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to let this run through its process, and then we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.